Now let's circle back to national team football matters. We talked about the Super Eagles B team and their preparations, and that took a bit of a snag, you want to say, considering it ended in a 4-goal stalemate, having taken a 2-goal lead going into halftime. Joining us on the show is Promise Afoge, the Super Eagles media manager, and he joins us from Zanzibar. I can see you're still on the field of play, Promise. Good evening. Thank you so much for joining us. Run us through the performance of the team. What went wrong? Was it really a loss of concentration, considering they had that 2-goal advantage going into the second half?
All right, I just put out a statement a couple of moments ago, so Nigerians can know what exactly transpired here. It was an interesting game, just like we saw in the first stanza, which ended goalless. It was a game the Eagles should have won. And well, as far as the team is concerned, we're satisfied with the performance. The first outing was great, was decent, just as the coach really wanted. But, you know, this was going to be the final warm-up game before the CHAN tournament. You did ask me this question a few days ago if the Eagles would play more friendly games before the start of the CHAN tournament. And I told you no, because this would surely be the last game before the CHAN would kick off. And so it was an opportunity for the coach to test every player in the squad. This was exactly what he did. He played every man he had in the squad. All 23 players had a taste of the action. He changed formations severally because, I mean, he needed to really test what he needs to do at the tournament itself. He played up to 3, 4, 5 different formations, all in 90 minutes, just to ensure that he understands how these players can feature and really get to maximize their potentials and their capacity on game day. So as far as Eric Shell is concerned, the result is not important. What is most important for him is that he's been able to see every player in action in a match situation. And specifically, he told the players to slow down. The first half of this game, the Zanzibar team did not go close to the Nigerian half. They did not even enter the Nigerian half all through 45 minutes. The Nigerian team mounted pressure back to back every second, every minute till the end of 45 minutes and scored 2 goals in the process. In the second half, while he changed the entire squad and brought in players from the bench, he told them all to slow down. He told them all to take it easy. He told them the CHAN tournament is just a few days away. I mean, injuries cannot be risked at this time. It will be devastating if any player coops an injury. That will be a -1 for the squad. And so he told them to slow down. He told them to stay injury-free so as to ensure that all 23 players will be available when the CHAN tournament will kick off.
Okay, as much as the tactical experiment is understandable, you know, Nigerians are all about the victories. Now, the question will be, is it a bit worrisome that it seemed like Zanzibar, over 2 legs, the Super Eagles couldn't get a victory over them, and going into the tournament, they'll be facing defending champion Senegal and other formidable opponents in the competition. Is that a bit of a worry for Eric Chow, that despite the fact that the players had to slow down, they just couldn't get a victory over 2 legs against a team like Zanzibar?
I think it was all about game management. Yes, 2 goals were considered in the second half, right? But the game was not lost, and that is most important for the Nigerian Super Eagles. I mean, like I told you, if the game had continued with the same intensity as they started the first half, it wouldn't have been a draw. It would have been an outright win for the Nigerian team. But like I said earlier, the coach specifically instructed the players to slow down. They were putting too much energy into the game. They wanted to win the game, and we saw all of that in the first half. The coach saw what was going on and I mean, anticipated in a case whereby an injury to a player in a game like this, it's a warm-up game, it's not a World Cup final, it's not a competitive game. So he did instruct them to slow down and ensure that they stay injury-free. Let me take your mind back to 1996 and root the Atlanta 1996 Olympic Games. The Dream Team at the time lost their final warm-up game against Togo 3-1, and everyone wrote them off. They went on to the Olympic Games, and we all know what happened. They came back with a gold. The CHAN team this time around, they are very positive about a very good outing here as far as the CHAN 2024 is concerned. What we've seen so far as far as the warm-up game is concerned, remember, 2 friendly games were played before the games against Zanzibar, and both matches were won. I told you the last time we had this conversation that the Zanzibar team is a very, very solid team. They've beaten everybody. This Zanzibar team defeated Senegal. They defeated Tanzania. They defeated a couple of high-profile teams in the build-up to the CHAN tournament. What they found the Nigerian Super Eagles be are very hard enough to crack. However, I will repeat what I said earlier. First half was fantastic from the Nigerian Super Eagles, but the coach instructed them specifically to slow down in the second half to ensure that he would leave this pitch with all 23 players in hale and hearty. The Zanzibar team, I must say, are very physical, strong and physical. You know, these were the things the coaches saw and told our players to slow down.
Okay, finally, let's talk about the players now and how they're preparing for the big one, the opener against Senegal. That's definitely as tough as it can ever be, considering the Senegalese are the defending champions. The question is, how much of an atmosphere right there on the island of Zanzibar do we have for the Super Eagles, considering their first two games will be right there on the island before going away for their next game? So you talk about home advantage in football. Does this really play to the advantage of the Super Eagles against the Senegalese?
Well, as far as every team playing in the CHAN tournament is concerned, except for the three host nations, Tanzania, Uganda, and Kenya, every other team is a visitor. You know, the Senegalese are visitors here. They've been in Zanzibar for a couple of days, just like the Super Eagles. They've been playing warm-up games as well. So also the Nigerian national team. And so every team who is here to play the game, to play at the CHAN tournament, are visitors. And so there wouldn't be any advantage to any team. But one thing is certain, as far as the CHAN tournament is concerned, if you take a look at the history of the tournament, no teams are ever the same. Let me put it this way. The Nigerian CHAN team you see in this edition of the tournament will be very different from the one you will see in 2 years' time. Why? The CHAN tournament is for players who play in their domestic leagues. And you know what it is like in Africa. You know, you play at the CHAN tournament this year, the next season, players get to sign deals in Europe and they become ineligible for the next tournament. So we're talking about Senegal being the defending champions. Yes, kudos to them. But the Senegalese team we saw 2-3 years ago is not the same Senegalese team that is being featured at this year's edition of the tournament.
Okay, we wish the team the very best. Thank you so much, Promise Foge, media manager of the Super Eagles, for your time on the show this evening.
Thank you so much, Samson.
Thank you so much. Now let's move past that and